I wouldn't go to class. I almost didn't graduate high school. The only reason why I got into college was because I was a good hockey player and I got in, like, that was the only way I got into college.
Real success doesn't come without those war stories.
The biggest click for me was, working so hard, 80, 90-hour weeks, to produce multi six-figure income. And I was like, I'm still not making seven figures. I can't work any harder. When to quit, when to move on. Like, how long do I give it to see if it's going to work?
Would you say on a scale of 1 to 10, like, do you feel fulfilled? Welcome to the High Performance Human Podcast, where high achievers learn to master themselves, not just their success. I'm Creighton Bertrand, a certified high performance coach, here to share practical tools to rewire your habits and mindset. If you're ready to move beyond good enough and step into real transformation, you're in the right place. Let's get to work. Do you feel like there was ever a moment between, again, the 20s and 30s where you feel like your drive, that need to succeed, especially as you're chasing hundreds of thousands of dollars, like that you found a place where it was like consuming your peace or your mental capacity or maybe even your relationships?
100%, completely consumed me 100% of the time. I literally couldn't even go on vacation because I felt like I was losing commission. It was brutal. And I was doing it for all the wrong reasons. I was still trying to prove to the world that I could be more successful than everybody else without a college degree.
That was your story.
Yeah, I was like, all you guys got your MBAs and I'm going to crush you anyways.
Right. I'm curious on your thoughts of this because I do believe that there's suffer and sacrifice necessary to get what you did. I don't know if there was a way for you to achieve as much without suffering as much as you did. If you could go back to that version of Justin that isn't going on vacation and doing this, like, what is the suggestion you would tell him? Or do you think the knucklehead would even listen to you? Because I can tell myself, if I go back to 30-year-old Creighton and I'm like, dude, like, you just need to calm down and like start finding a hobby. Because I remember having a coach that was like, what do you do for fun? And I'm like, I'll do fun later. And he goes, what if I told you that by you doing fun, it's going to give you so much energy that it's going to impermeate into other areas of your life? Well, then I'd say you're an idiot. And he goes, okay, well, prove me wrong. Go out, because I told him I used to play soccer when I was a kid. He said, go play some soccer and then come back and tell me I'm the stupidest person and that you'll never do it again. And I'm like, okay, cool. I did it. And I came back and I was like, oh my gosh, I came home and I was lit up. And then I had so much energy coming back into work. I was like, this is the stupidest thing ever. But then once I understood like the neurotransmitters, the chemicals, I was like, oh yeah, this actually makes sense. So what would you say to that version of Justin?
Yeah, I would have told Justin to do his blood work earlier and do some Dutch tests and all the biohacking stuff that I eventually did to see just how badly I had messed myself up chemically. I mean, my cortisol levels were like double the acceptable amount to
Wow.
point that it killed my testosterone levels. And I was operating off of straight discipline. There was zero natural drive left in my body. It was very unhealthy. And I just didn't know it.
Wow. Did you have a break-even point during that time, or you didn't do your blood work until later to discover this, or did you actually have a breaking point?
Yeah. So I was still playing hockey 2, 3 times a week, men's league in the evenings.
How did you let yourself do that? Because you were such a driven, how did you allow yourself to have fun playing hockey? How did you earn that?
Well, so it fit into the schedule. I was doing in-home sales. So I'd get home around, 9, 10 o'clock every night. And we didn't play until 10, 11 o'clock at night. So it fit into it. And again, it was the same thing. It was like, I'm going to win the scoring title in this league.
So you could harness that superpower towards this dominating in the sport. Yeah.
It was like dominate the sales day and then go show everybody in the men's league that you're the best hockey player in Northern Virginia. Like that
without any testosterone and an insane amount of cortisol.
Yeah. And it was interesting because like I came close a couple years. I mean, I played, men's league for 10 years from the time I finished college to, when like the dream was over and I wasn't going to the NHL. And the last year, I think I was like 34. The last year I played, I won the scoring title and I never played again. I was like, I did it and I'm done.
Was it because you were afraid of losing it or what it took to get there? Why did you decide to quit at that moment?
What it took to do it at 34 was too much of a commitment taking away from these other things I wanted to do. And I'm the type of person that if I'm not going all out, I don't want to do it at all. So I just didn't want to do it again. I just hung them up. I was like, I'm going to take this time. I'm going to sleep at night instead of being out all night playing hockey
Try
and
this human thing.
drinking beers till 3 a.m. in the parking lot. Like, none of that's good for you. And then you're feeling like crap the next day going to work. And it was the same period of time where I knew I needed to transition and I was going to have to go through a period of time where there was going to be nothing but insane work ethic. So, like a lot of times it's not something you need to do. It's something you need to get rid of that makes room for the thing that you're going to do.
100%. What do you feel like you needed to get rid of at that
And
moment?
yeah, it was two things. It was the social, going out after playing hockey with all the guys, like bars every night, just being out late and not sleeping. And then at the same time, I stopped doing that. I started going to bed around 9, 10 o'clock when I would get home. I was up at like 4 or 5 in the morning, started other, habits. I did 75 hard, changed my life, and then did the next phase of that, which is called phase one, and then started the power list and journaling every morning and all of these things when I was starting, the next business in tandem with that.
Mm.
And I tried like 3 different businesses until I found capital raising and the hedge fund world. But I was doing that from like 4 or 5 in the morning until like 9 a.m. And then the workday would start. If the sales day ended early, I'd be home at 8 p.m. And then I would, get ready to do it again. So there was nothing else in my life at that time except my dog and my wife. And even that was, she did not get the time and attention that she wanted.
Yeah. Did you ever feel bad or guilty about that? I hope you don't mind me asking.
Yeah, I mean, I did, but at the same time, it was like, hey, we had these mutual goals. Like, we have these things we want that we are both very focused on. Like, this is what it's going to take.
Okay.
So that always overrode it. And yeah, we got everything we wanted. So it was worth it. you know,
I
uh,
mean, you guys stuck it out, which is kudos, because I think a lot of people when they're in it, it's easy to be like, well, this to me, everything goes back to feeling everything in our life. Like everything's an addiction, whether we want to admit it or not. But a lot of people, I feel this way, and because I feel that way, I'm going to change or I'm going to do this thing. Like I would say, and I'm curious on your thoughts, of all the things that I've ever gone through or learned from psychology, human behavior, all the science, I'd say one of the biggest things besides taking accountability is realizing that feelings aren't facts. And once I started to really understand that, and like I needed to see it from a chemical standpoint of like what chemical makes me feel happy, what chemical makes me feel sad. Once I could see all those and realize like if I get stimulated because of the environment, this chemical is going to get produced. And then my interpretation of that is going to give that meaning. And once I did that, it just allowed me to disassociate from these feelings and choose what I actually wanted to do. So, from your standpoint, like, is there anything that you can think in your 38 years of experience here on this earth? Like, what is it that you think is one of your biggest ahas that you've learned about being a human that changed everything for you? Or you wish you
yeah,
would have learned earlier?
yeah, on the same thing that you were just talking about, right? Emotions, feelings, like we all think that they're unique to us. We all have them. And when I realized that how I define the feeling, how I talk to myself when emotion comes in, like that is your choice what that data point is.
Yeah.
And I really started to realize that when I was having crazy anxiety about starting to speak on stages and doing media and podcasts and content and all these things that were like, everyone's like, oh, I could never do that. Guess what? We all felt like that when we first started.
Yeah.
So, like I think Gary Brecka told me this when we were about to speak on the same stage. And, I was like, oh, the nerves are here. He's like, is it nerves or is it excitement? He's
Mm-hmm.
like, you choose what that feeling is. Is it fear or are you really excited to do this? And I'm like, so now every time I feel something, I'm like, am I scared? Am I excited? Am I this? Like, you get to choose.
Yeah. And it goes back to what we talked about at the beginning. It's that simple, but the simple is always that hard.
Yeah.
But the psychology and the neuroscience lines up. I don't know if you looked into it, but the part of your brain that gets activated for fear and excitement, exact same thing. It's just the story you tell. That's why when these like free divers or people that do cliff jumping, base jumping, they have the exact same part of their brain lit up as someone that's afraid. but they choose to see it in a different manner. They have a different story associated with it.
Interesting. So is that just control of the amygdala?
Yeah, you can just figure out what it is that you want to do. For them, they go back and they find using their hippocampus and other parts of their brain of pulling memories of like, oh my gosh, I remember when I jumped. I remember when this was amazing. I'm so excited. Whereas if I was to go, I don't have any memory banks. I'm not excited about that. So I'm like, remember that time you fell off the trampoline? Remember when this? Remember when you're on this roller coaster? That was scary. So those are the ones that get pulled. But if you tell your brain to start looking for whatever it is you want, like, how can I be excited about this? And that's what I love to teach people is the way to turn off your amygdala is to replace certainty with curiosity. And that's usually what we do. We're going into the speaking event and like, I'm scared. I am. We're coming in with certainty. And so your brain goes, oh, you're afraid? Let's pull all the evidence for that. But if you can flip it and say, oh my gosh, how could I be excited about this? Then your brain's like, oh my gosh, how do I do that? And you're turning off your amygdala. You actually enable your prefrontal cortex. And so you're trying to solve that. And it'll give you a totally different feeling. So anytime you're doing anything in your life and you have a feeling to turn off your amygdala, just start to engage your prefrontal cortex by asking a question, and it'll change everything. And it's not easy, just like, simple. You want to get in shape, just diet and exercise. It's that simple, but it's the repetition that gets you the results.
Yeah, that's been a huge thing for me. My biggest thing that I've been trying to conquer for the last, let's say, 15 years is just general happiness. Like,
Mm.
there's no result that makes you happy during the process. And that's like a very common thing with high achievers.
Oh, yeah.
And what I realized was that if I just stay curious about the process,
Mm.
of just curious to figure it out, what's going to happen, and being genuinely interested in the feedback and then adjusting, you forget about the outcomes.
Yeah.
And it's so important because you can't control the outcomes
You
anyways.
can't. It's such a lie. It's such a lie. I mean, I'm pretty faith-based, and I think that's where we always get in an issue is when we try to create ourselves into gods. Because to become a god, you know how and when. We're not capable of that. So as soon as you release that control, like it's so freeing. I teach everyone we want to focus on the output, not the outcome. That's the only thing you can control. Output. What are you doing today? And I heard you talk about this on a podcast. Like you stop doing big visions and goals. You're just like, just today. That's all that matters. And I would challenge you as well. I don't know if you're doing this, but just start asking yourself the question throughout the day like, what could I do that would make me happy? Like, what is it that I could do that would bring me fulfillment? And again, you might not know what it is, you don't know when it's going to happen, but just starting to activate that part of your brain, it's going to start to scan for evidence that, oh my gosh, look at the birds. Oh my gosh, I get to be in my car. Oh my gosh, I get to see my wife. Oh my gosh, I get to walk. Like you find so many things to start to create that evidence. And then that's how you start to become someone that's actually happy. I always tell people that happiness is not waiting on the other side of your pillow in the morning. Like we always think, once I get this, then I'll be happy. I'm like, happiness is literally practice by being present and being intentional to find it on a daily basis.
Yeah, it's been a big revelation for me. And because I've gotten better at this, there's nothing that I enjoy more now than these sunrises out here in the desert with the mountains, cup of coffee, walking my dogs with my wife. Like there's just no happier moment. And it doesn't require a ton of money to do these things. So,
Yeah.
if we do a big deal, if we don't do a big deal, like I'm less concerned with those outcomes now because I'm getting clearer and clearer on that I actually already have everything I want.
Yeah. And do you think that it would have been possible for you in your 20s and 30s to realize that? Or do you think you had to go through the suck, the sacrifice, the misery to realize that? Because I always struggle with this myself. Like, I don't know if I could have not made hundreds of thousands of dollars and told myself, like, Creighton, like, you just have to be present. You just have to choose happiness. I'd be like, dude, you're just an idiot. You
No,
hippie, go away.
it's a very clear thing that got me here, and it was a big loss. if you play it safe and you have incremental growth, which was the first 10 years of my career, like a little better every year, a little better every year, you just can't see who you're going to be. You don't even know who you are actually until
Facts.
you really take a risk that brings you somewhere and then you lose it.
Yeah.
Like falling off a mountaintop is the greatest blessing that'll ever happen. And my entire life's mission was for that not to happen because I watched my parents go through it. And then it happened to me. And it's been the greatest thing that ever happened.
Yeah.
So
Why do you think it's the greatest thing? I feel like because we have our ego is everything that we're doing. I am, I am, I am, whereas actually he is, but we think we are. And so we're going around as I am. And as soon as that ego gets fully stripped, it humbles us. It brings us to our knees to realize that I'm nothing.
yeah.
And to me, it's so suffering. It's like sacrificial, like almost a crucifixion. But at that same moment, it's so freeing and liberating.
Yeah. For me, it was all the ideas of happiness and what I wanted. I got them and
Hmm.
quickly lost them all.
Mm.
So, I had this idea like I'm from the DMV right outside Washington, D.C. I was there my whole life. We started the first business there. And I was there until about 2.5 years ago. And the entire time I wanted to leave, I was like, I'm just going to stack up this cash until I figure out how to get out of here. And it was my dream to move to Vegas, have the house on the mountain, like all of that, and it finally happens. We exit the business and we move out there. I'm in having that coffee in the morning with the sunrise, a $3 million house, infinity pool cliff, like everything is amazing. And within 6 months of being there, we had a business blow up. Fraud was committed against us. We lost millions of dollars. And I had to unwind all of that
Oh,
and
yeah.
move into a 1,500 square foot condo to rebuild. And those mornings in that condo, looking at the same sunrise, not from the mountain, but from the flat,
Yeah.
still walking my dog, still doing the same things, I realized I already had it the whole time.
Whoa. You actually, no, no, no. That's crazy. You weren't in that moment just pissed and angry and going back to the victim mentality. You were able, I mean, metaphorically speaking, like you were able to see the sunrise.
It was so humbling. And
Wow.
going through that, I have never respected all the entrepreneurs that have built and lost. It was like me on this mission to take what my dad went through and not have it happen to me was just it was preventing me from actually taking the risks that would take me to a better place. And nothing's a straight up line, right? So, and it's funny because that came crashing down and we're already back,
Yeah.
2 years later. And what I've realized is I used to look at these things and be like, oh, I feel so bad for that person or whatever. Now it's like, if you haven't had a gigantic loss,
Yeah.
I'm praying it happens to you.
I gotta go. I gotta go.
Because you're going to get to look in the mirror at that moment and figure out who you are.
Well, I would challenge just from studying so much psychology and human behavior, like if you haven't had a big loss, you're not playing all out. And if you're not playing all out, I guarantee you're probably numb in your life because the only way to have feeling, to have experiences is to have fear. I actually just had a podcast about that, like talking about fear is the fuel for success. And if you are just sitting there and numb, it's because you probably aren't doing anything that's scary. They talk about, I think it was Rohn that said, comfort creates casualties, something like that. But
Yep.
that's literally what happened to me as an engineer. Like making hundreds of thousands, it was easy. Like I wasn't pushing myself. I didn't have anything that could wreck me. So I wasn't really playing the game of life. I was just floating, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, that's why I'm back on that forced innovation thing we were talking about at the beginning. It's like force yourself to do things that are scary that you probably will fail.
Yeah.
It's like, there are just multiple instances. I've been lucky enough moving out to Vegas and getting in these new circles where, I hang out with people that are worth hundreds of millions of dollars, billionaires. And when you talk to them, they've all got stories of massive loss that are worse than mine.
Yeah.
And they're like, good, man. Like, you're now qualified to start hanging out with us.
Yeah.
And it's like, and then the whole perspective changes. It's like, wait a minute, like the highest achievers on this planet respect people that fail. I need to do more of that.
Yeah. And I feel the same. I mean, my wife and I have gone through our own struggles. We've had businesses, they didn't work and kept going. But to me, the pinnacle of everything for me is my wife and I's relationship. Like if we didn't get to the point where we were about to get divorced, like she actually came to the bedrooms like I'm leaving, and I was such a coward that I was like, good, because I was too much of a coward to actually go after what I wanted. I couldn't tell her. And so us battling through that made our relationship better than what was even possible. And so we always call it like the great divorce, but we're so grateful that we went through that because it's allowed us to talk about the things that we were too afraid to talk about.
We went through a similar thing when, to give you some context, like I took the majority of the proceeds from the exit in the business and put it into multifamily real estate
Okay.
at the top in 2022 when
Okay.
interest rates were still low. And, most of those properties, I was like, this cash flow here is going to like, we're good, like
Yeah.
forever, your NOI is gone, like, and
Yeah.
all these plans you have just get blown up. And then, and then you got your spouse looking at you like, what have you done to us? You know?
I'm making us better because we're gonna about to go through something really sucky. That's what's going on.
Yeah. And then, through those experiences, having to sell the cars, humbling yourself,
Yeah.
like we literally just did this the other day. We were like, why do we need this X5M that we put the dogs in the trunk? We got to put this ladder for them to get into it. I was like, why don't we just sell it and just get a minivan? And
Whoa, what did you get one?
yeah, so
What did you get? We have three kids, one on the way, and we had a Range Rover before. And I tried to get my wife. I mean, I'm an engineer, so I'm pretty frugal. I don't care. Everything's functionality for me. So I didn't care about status, anything. I've been trying to get a minivan, but we recently got rid of the Range Rover and got a Honda Odyssey. And I'm just like, how did we not do this years ago? Like, this is the stupidest thing ever. And I'm actually mad for anyone out there that has a minivan is not selling it to all of your friends, because all my friends that had a minivan and didn't sell me, it's your fault.
yeah, I mean, we did the same thing. We got a Honda Odyssey,
Oh,
and it's
it's
great.
insane. It's so good. It has enough power. The inside is so nice. Yeah.
It's just like the feeling of getting rid of $1,000 a month payment, and I bought the Odyssey cash. It's like,
Same. Yeah.
I'm getting like so much simpler in life. And it's like, do I want to spend 12 grand a year, add the insurance, probably, I don't know, close to 20 grand a year on X5M that sits in the garage and I drive it to the gym and back? Or do
Yeah.
I want to go on another vacation? Or do I want to maybe just work a little less and spend more time with my family? It's like, these levels we kill ourselves for. It's just at some point, you don't need more.
Yeah. What do you think, in all of our wisdom, like, what would you tell to someone? What do you need more of in life, really?
I think you need more quality time
Mm,
and experiences. And there's nobility in hard work. And if you have a mission that you believe in, that's the only way you're going to do the hard work. But I think you need to balance that with if we didn't have modern society and we were just, working for our food and spending time with our family, like make sure you're doing that
yeah.
and you're not missing, critical life experiences. Like go on the vacation. Like, sure, like you need to invest money for your retirement, whatever. But like if you just all out do that and you never experience life when you're young, I think you've really got it backwards. And that's how I was for 10 years. Now, like, I think having the big loss, falling off the mountaintop, all those things, you put it into perspective. It's like Bill Ackman, he lost 4 billion and he put it in great terms. He's like, the only thing you can do is make a little progress every day. If you look back up at the mountain, it's just so overwhelming. You got to climb from where you are, which is so humbling to go back and do things that, you feel overqualified to do, but you become less of a slave to the urgent because it's going to take me so long to get back there.
Yeah.
I just can't even, put urgency on it. It's like, it'll happen on God's time. And I'm going to just like, yes, I'm going to work really hard and do all these things, but I'm definitely not going to say, oh, well, I got to do it on Sunday too, and not spend time, going on a hike or whatever it's going to be. So yeah, I'm just completely, that's why I don't put timelines on my goals anymore. I know where I'm headed and I'll get there when I get there.
Yeah. Do you feel like you know what all your values are? Because this is something that I love to help people with. that they'll come in because I know like if I just do business, I'm just going to be miserable. If I just do fitness, I'm just going to be miserable. Family. So I know what my values are. And once I know what that is, I know what is enough in each one of those to keep everything afloat, but I also know how to kind of push it. Have you went through and defined kind of what are all your values, the places that you want to be putting your time in?
Yeah, and I also put percentages on it because
100%.
this was really hard for me, right? It's like 75 hard, and then day 76, I'm back to old habits. Like I've always been like an all in, all out person.
Yes.
It's been very difficult for me to say, well, I'm only going to drink 1 day a week. It's like, well, I'm either not drinking or I'm drinking. It's
Yeah.
like, so what I figured out was like, how do I want to live in terms of the Pareto principle? Like, I want to be at least an 80-20 person in
Right.
these categories that matter the most to me. Right.
Right.
So it's like, but what's a little more like a 90-10 lifestyle? That's kind of where I want to be, which means 6 days out of 7, I'm going to work out. I'm living 90-10. 6 out of 7, I'm going to work. 1 out of 7, I'm going to allow myself to have alcohol or whatever the thing is.
Right.
The only way I've been able to find balance with the way my brain works is just by putting percentages on it.
Yeah, and that's pretty common. That's one thing that I love to help people figure out is like what is enough and what's ideal. I always talk about like I don't play darts, so I'm not that good. But when I go to play darts, what happens? I'm always aiming for the bullseye, but because I suck, if I just get the dart on the board, I'm like, hey, that's pretty good. So I always love to have people set up their goals the same way. Like, what's your bullseye, but also what's enough? Because if you don't, then at the end of the day, your brain's going to beat the crap out of you saying, oh my gosh, you're terrible. You're not enough. But if you're able to be like, no, I did my minimum, it's like, oh, okay. I guess that's okay.
Yeah. And you have to have benchmarks and frames of reference to know how you're doing.
Yeah. What do you think is an internal struggle or maybe a mindset challenge that you currently are battling through, if you don't mind sharing for the audience?
I think I battle with sticking to those percentages and
Not
principles.
going to 100% or not letting yourself fall? Which one do you go
Both.
to, all or to nothing?
Both. It goes
Okay,
both
okay.
directions. I don't want to swing too far in either direction. Yeah, it's just I think that's the human condition is sometimes we're going to be more disciplined than others. Sometimes some of these categories, like when I lost the fund and we, went into 2 years of litigation and just this horrible business stuff. It's like I was just trying to stay afloat there, but I told myself I was like if you make it to the gym every day and you still meal prep your food,
Mm,
you're going to be okay, right? If you ever see me not working out, like something's really wrong,
right.
right? So it's like, okay, what category can I like just
Control.
focus on, prove to myself I still got it, and then rebuild it into those categories when I feel myself slipping with one of them.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. If everything gets taken away from you at this moment, Justin, like what is the one skill set, mindset, or belief that you think that you would need in order to re-succeed?
I'm gonna put it into one word, and
Oh
it's
wow.
authenticity.
Okay, cool.
I didn't realize that in the early days when I was fighting against, old school sales trainers and managers. And
Yeah.
the reason why I felt bad, I was like telling them I was doing the scripts they were giving me, but I wasn't, and it felt weird that I was getting better results by just going and being myself and being authentic and listening and trying to help someone solve a problem or tell them I can't help them. I never tried to sell somebody that the product would be bad for or anything like that. I didn't care. I would walk away from commission. And I think that's the most important thing in all things life, relationships, business is just authenticity. And Gary Brecka told me that. He said that the highest frequency, even above love, is authenticity. It's the highest, it's the number one sales tactic, if there is one, is just to be authentic because
Mm.
something people can feel. And sales is trust. Like all this is trust. So whatever it is, it's just stick to your principles, just be authentic in everything you do. And I think you end up in good places.
That's amazing. And so for you, what do you think is the thing that makes you authentic?
I don't filter anything in a weird way. I just say what well, now I'm like this. I used to sugarcoat everything, worry about what people think about me. And
Mm,
then building a brand on social media really taught me this. In the beginning, there was a lot of hate, a lot of like, me like taking a stance on what I believe in and controversial topics. what I realized is they were only controversial because I had been sugarcoating who I was to that audience. And the second I actually let the audience fully see me,
Yeah.
what my opinions, beliefs are, and authentically showed up, there are a lot of people that didn't like it that eventually unfollowed and went away. And then the tribe got strong and stronger and stronger.
Yeah.
And now it's just, a beautiful thing because I found a ton of other people who share the same values as me.
Yeah.
So I think you got to go through that tough transition period of, I'm starting a business, is going to be hard. I don't have customers yet. I can't get referrals. It's like all the easy stuff comes from going through the tough period.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it was Russell Brunson. I remember reading one of his books that he talked about how to make a tribe. And it is like you're talking about, you want to be polarizing. You want those people that resonate and you want those people that are repelled from what, because that's what makes you who you are. Like you're not for everybody. So what would thing that you would say to the person that's struggling to get the confidence, or is there a mindset, something that shifted in you to be like, you know what? I'm going to be authentic. And how did you do it?
It's going to sound really simple,
It always is.
but it's just the courage to do it anyways, no matter how scared you are. Like that's literally it. Just jump.
Yeah. You know, you're talking about frequency, and fear is like one of the bottom frequencies, and faith is like one of the highest. And courage is literally like right in the middle. And so I always tell people like the thing between you having what you want is having the courage to choose faith in the unknown, faith in what could, what might, versus staying in fear.
Yeah. And it's been I can remember the first time I spent $1,000 on marketing and the credit card was shaking in my hand. Like, oh, I don't know if I want to start a business. The LLCs, like the filings, it's going to be $700. It's like, and then it becomes a $35,000 investment. That's terrifying. Then it's 100,000. Then it's, millions. And at every break point, the feeling becomes more familiar.
Mm.
Being able to identify that and doing it anyways does get easier over time. So you really got to just like audit the feeling, do it, take the feedback. If I lost money, cool, I write it off. If I win, I get to win. It's like start to look at the fact that you really win no matter what when you go.
Yeah. I mean, going back to the analogy is like the sunset's always there for you. It doesn't matter. And that's the beauty of it is like, I think God created it that way. You don't have to earn, you don't have to be, you don't have to do. It's there. You just have to be willing to see it. And most of us aren't. We're like, no, it's going to be in the car. It's going to be in this. It's like, no, it's there. No, 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 you don't know. It's this other thing. No, it's not, you idiot. Dude,
But
such a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart for you making time. Like I said, I know that there's infinite other things you could do. So the fact that you're willing to give me and the audience some of your time, I really, really respect that. And I can see, I don't know if you know this about yourself, but just from our little bit of conversation, like it shows volumes that service is one of your drivers, that you really do want to help and give back and contribute to others. So thank you so much. I see that in you.
I love it. Thanks so much for having me. This has been a lot of fun.
Dude, that's awesome. So for anyone that's out here going to be watching, how can they get a hold of you? Is there anything that you're working on that you are looking for help with?
Yeah, we've got a lot of exciting projects right now. We just finished up a raise. We closed on the biggest project I've ever been involved in. It's 4.5 billion in economic development in Chattanooga,
Whoa,
120 acres of development on the
dang.
water.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, that feels really good to get that deal done. So right now we're raising capital for a smaller deal in Knoxville, Tennessee. It's 4.5 acres. We're doing 4 luxury homes on that 5 acres. It's right next to the Cherokee Country Club that has a 5-year wait list. It's a incredible deal. We'll exit that in 2 years or less, and the LPs will get a 25 to 50% return. So I would say, like, something I'm really proud of is we did a friends and family raise into Safe Space Global. The stock ticker's SSGC.
Mhm.
And we did that in January, and the round was at 10 cents. The stock hit $1.59. It's retreated back to around $1, but
Wow.
we had about 100 investors, and all of them became millionaires in less than 6 months off of me bringing them into the deal, which is,
Wow.
an incredible feeling. So yeah, I'm just, looking forward to more experiences like that and putting the losses behind me.
I always tell people find your failures. Every failure has a finding if you're willing to look for it. So if anyone does, because I do have a lot of real estate people that are in my circle, if anyone is interested in being part of that project coming up, what's the best way for them to get a hold of you?
Yeah, any of the social medias, I'm easy to find at Justin Freishtat. There's only one me in the world with a last name like that. Or you can go to pitchequityfund.com.
Okay, cool. All right. Appreciate you so much, man. You have an amazing day, and I look forward to connecting with you later.
Sounds great.